Hey, welcome to Butcher Bay Rejects. I'm Mark.
Hey nerds, how you doing?
What's up, bud? What's up?
Oh, I am Greg. Sorry, forgot that part. Good, good, good. Got a
We'll call it
little
an improv.
yeah, yeah. So shout out anything. Bridge of the Enterprise and a dildo. Okay. Um Speaking of, yeah, we're gonna cover Strange New Worlds. So we got another good little Star Trek show. We're gonna cover Extraction 2 with Chris Hemsworth. Just came out on Netflix. Creed 3 and Fast X. Fast X, Fast and Furious will never die.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, Strange New Worlds. Awfully strange that Anson Mount sits out the first episode, don't you think? Kind of weird, no?
You know what? It was kind of like I just felt like it just a continuation from last. I mean, obviously it is a continuation from last season, but I mean it just felt like everything just kind of rolled into each other, kind of thing. So yeah, no, I mean having him walk out, not be a part of, but I mean he's setting up for something else, right? So it's obviously he's going to be caught up in some political crap that's got to get number one out of jail.
Yeah, yeah, I'm fine with the mid episode. It's just bizarre to see one of your main characters just sitting out. The first go around, which is odd, but anyway, it's still delivered with Spock and the unrequited love between him and the
Nurse
Chapel.
Chapel, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, they
yeah.
kind of threw Spock in the deep end, right?
Yeah, you notice that? Remember that famous episode of the original series where he was playing the lyre there? I think you call
No.
it that music. Yeah, that's that. I think that's a callback or an Easter egg to that episode where he sang. He actually sang too in that episode and played that
Oh, yeah, yeah,
lyre.
yeah. I remember that. I remember
Okay.
that.
Yeah, and smiled, which was weird. Seeing Leonard Nimoy smile with Spock was really weird.
How'd you like that edition of Carol Kane?
Well, I thought, oh, here's the kooky Mandalorian character. Okay. Well, I was more curious about her. I guess she's playing some, was it a Lanth? I can't remember the alien
It
race
was
she
sort
is,
of
but
an
I guess,
immortal race, yeah.
yeah, they live a long time. So I was more curious about that. But
Well, I mean, that's why I think that's one of the reasons why she helped them is just because she was bored sitting in Starfleet. It's like, ooh, an adventure. Let's do this, you know?
yeah, pretty smart too. 'Cause she figured out his plan in a parsec or millisecond, whatever.
Well, you know what? If you've been around for a few thousand years, you learn to read the room. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or the transporter room. Yeah.
So I think it's like that. It's like in any movie or show where the older veteran sees through the younger guy's attempt at stupidity. You know, so
Yeah.
sort of fell in that lines.
Yeah. I was a little lost between when Chapel and the doctor kind of inject themselves with slow mo or whatever. Was this some kind of a steroid or something, or to enhance
I'm not
their
sure.
abilities, fighting
I'm not sure. I
abilities?
think this is one of those things we're going to get an explanation later.
Okay, so we
But
didn't really get one, right? I
no,
mean,
no, 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 no. This was something that, from what I gathered, I mean, obviously both of them were in the Klingon War,
yeah,
and they had to do some shit that needed to help them get out of shit. And I think this is it. This is kind of like a hyper steroid that just puts everybody into just beast mode, and they just kick ass.
yeah.
But it seems to me that the doctor had a more, I guess you could say.
He was liking it too much at one point there when he
Well, I
was
think that might have been
strangling.
that might have been a thing where he in the past probably did like it a little too much and needed to be weaned off and whatnot. But it seemed to have lasted longer in him, which means he's had a lot more exposure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, we keep saying I'm calm, I'm in control, like, oh, so maybe he did used to take this shit and it kind of propelled him into, vicious rages.
yeah.
But I mean, if you could throw Klingons around like that, that's got to be potent stuff.
That's right. I'll say.
When it wore off on her and she punched the Klingon and hurt her hand, she's like, "Ow!" I guess
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it's like Star Trek PCP.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, all in all,
Oh, all in
pretty
all, it
good
was a great.
episode to start.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's the great thing with Strange New Worlds is that each episode, even though there might be a continuation to it, has its um, own feel to each episode, which is great. And like everybody had a thing. Like I mean, Ortega flying the Enterprise, and it's like doing barrel rolls and shit, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, and just when we thought we're getting set up for Captain Spock's famous line, "I
oh
would
yeah,
like to
he
go
do.
now. I'd like to go now."
Yes, I'd like to go now. Yeah, that's.
Oh well, need some work.
Well, they seem to be doing that a lot these days, not giving us the go lines like they want, like we want to. Didn't happen with Seven of Nine,
That's right. Yeah, they cut away just as she was about to say it, right?
bastards.
Yeah.
But no, I mean everybody had like. I still like Ortega. I mean, shit, they're not scratching our paint job anymore. Like, it's
Yeah.
like she's like the mechanic. Like, I own this baby. This baby's mine, and you're not gonna fuck with it. It's it's a great character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good
Looking
start
forward
to the
this
season.
Yes, sir. All right, let's jump into some Creed 3.
Creed
This was
3.
actually directed by Michael B. Jordan, as well as starring in. I thought it was so good that it looks like now, like Marvel has a Kang problem and a Jonathan Majors problem. So does this, because I could have easily seen him coming back, and doing another, fight for the belt, because I thought
Yeah.
it was a pretty good story. And
Well, I
Jonathan
mean, it
Majors
was
again was
reality. It
great.
was Rocky 3.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Like, it really, literally was Rocky 3, except this time they were buddies. So
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, and he literally took, well, Damian Anderson's life from him as he was sitting in the cell. He was watching what confused me was, am I led to believe that while he was hitting that old guy, was this like a foster father? Because I kind of
yeah, it
missed,
was
like,
something like that.
okay, yeah, and then he takes off when the cops show up.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I thought it was a
I mean,
great story.
it was a good story. It held up, but it literally was Rocky 3
Yeah,
revamped.
yeah, yeah. Except Mr. T was the classic loner. This guy had a bit of a crew, getting out of the joint and help break the hand of the,
Yeah, well, I think
challenger.
he was more along the, like I said, he was more along the lines of, like, the brother that's going to take everything from you. It was sort of like, it was like Killmonger in Black Panther, right?
Yeah,
So role reversal.
yeah. Boy,
But
Wood Harris was back there from Remember the Titans as the trainer.
yeah,
Tony Burton, Felicia Rashad, yeah, Marianne Creed. She's
yeah.
and
No, I
even
mean
Victor Drago, yeah, came back to
everybody
help
is.
out.
I mean, I like the whole thing with Drago. They had that respect for each other, and it was, yeah. Everything was just kind of, it was everything you want a Creed movie to have. I wasn't completely excited about it, so
Yeah, well, this is the first one without Sylvester Stallone too, right? I believe.
well, so Stallone always gave it heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, there was Rocky is always, when you do like a Rocky movie, even though it's been Creed, Rocky had to be sewn into it. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been, I mean, well, then they really would have been doing Rocky 3 if Rocky had passed away.
yeah. In this case, I think it was a rights issue and something, like, I know he's trying to get him back from Irvin Winkler, and so I don't know if that's why he sat this one out, but
Yeah, but yeah,
yeah, it was okay,
it
right?
was okay. It's not my favorite. I think the first Creed was the best one.
Yeah,
that one had a lot of pull. That pulled on the heartstrings hard. So, but this one, it's number 3. It's kind of like, okay, it still doesn't have the same staying power Rocky did. Even though Rocky stumbled a couple of times with, what was it, Rocky 5?
Yeah.
His first
yeah.
attempt at training.
Yeah, Adonis better pump out a son here so we can continue this franchise. Or
Yeah,
I
no
guess it'll
kidding.
be a woman boxer. Right? That's cool too. But,
Uh,
we already have $1 Million Baby. Okay.
or what? Rocky's grandson starts training.
Oh, that's
I want to
right.
know
Yeah.
what my dad was all about. My grandfather was all about. To do the
All
Rocky
right.
Rocky theme to techno.
Yeah, yeah. Ready to tackle some Fast X?
You got it.
Now, let me ask you this. I could pinpoint the exact turn that Jason Momoa as Dante suddenly went, I don't know what the politically correct term is here. What is it? Whoopsie. Uh, did you notice? I forget the exact moment, but there was a moment in the movie where his acting just changed to really flamboyant and devil may care. Did you notice that in the movie?
Well, I
It's
mean,
like,
it was after he got well, because he said it in the movie at a certain point when he got knocked into the river, during the big car chase from Fast Five there,
yeah.
that he got clocked in the head, cracked his
Yeah,
skull.
yeah, no, I know, but watching Fast X though, there's a clear delineation when he just said, "You know what, I'm going to try this," and
No, actually,
and from then on, he
I kind of
stuck through
got
it.
that right from the beginning. It's like right when
Well, he wasn't as flamboyant, and when he started, like he was coming all tough, and then he became,
No,
and then
when he was in when they were talking about it in the past when he was like standing next to his dad and he was all kind of like very very tough guy kind of thing. It was as that scene progressed and it got to the point where his car gets knocked over by the safe into the river. He stated later that, after I got knocked, it did crack my skull a little bit. And after that, he changed.
well, yeah, and that's another thing. Not to jump to the end credits, but I remember the last movie or the movie where his father dies, and yes, that was Hobbs that did it. So I'm
Yep.
wondering, well, why the hell is he going after Dominic? And then you're like, well, those Rock and him are fighting. But anyway, we'll get.
Dominic took all the money.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I still had the crazy gravity defying stunts. Had a great fight scene, I thought, with Cypher. And
Yeah. Well, to me, Momoa made the whole movie. I think this
Yeah.
was his
Well,
best performance.
yeah, it was an interesting choice for an action movie, or for a Fast and Furious movie, I must say.
Well, you know what? I don't think I've ever seen him stretch a character or stretch his acting skills to embrace a character like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I mean, his every scene, like you said, it was scene stealing, right? Right from when he first walks into Cypher, and he's just kind of like, turning everybody, and then he just slices the shit out of everybody with that one guy, and he's like, everyone had somebody but him, not even a
Yeah.
cat. Like it was just very nonchalant, and like the quick movement with the blade and like licking off the. I'm like, come on, this is fantastic stuff. When he releases the bomb, what should we blow up first? The Vatican? Oh, you guys are going to hell. Like it was so well done. Even like the conversation with the two corpses.
Yeah.
Like the dead body rolls over. Hey, pay attention. I'm talking to you. Bob, you're so evil. And he's sitting there in the pastel robe with his hair in pigtails. Like, come on. This was just so.
Yeah, I was saying we're not accustomed to this, and
No, but I think for this kind of franchise, this is a breath of fresh air because we've always had just there's just been a testosterone fest throughout most of it, right? Even in the one where Letty was fighting the what's her name there,
Ronda Rousey.
Ronda Rousey. That's still testosterone fueled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, estrogen fueled. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Like there's just
Yeah.
that the thing, and this is just like let's have some fun.
Well, tell me you didn't see the Alan Richardson.
In case you're wondering, the rug does match the drapes.
Yeah. Tell me you didn't see the Ames played by Alan Richardson that in the flashback. Don't obviously you noticed that was the back of him sitting in the office, right? Like
at the end of it, yeah, it dawned on me afterwards. I didn't.
Oh no, I caught it. I caught it immediately. And tell me, watching him, obviously he's even bigger than he was in Reacher. This guy should be playing Aquaman for God's sakes. You know what I mean? Like, don't you think he's already got the hair for God's sakes? I mean, the build. He's a built-in superhero now. Jesus.
Actually, it was funny. I just recently saw a clip from the Rich Eisen show, and Alan Richardson was on, and he was talking about how jealous he was of Momoa's costume versus his when he was Aquaman.
Yeah.
I just had this little Speedo with a zip up in the front. He got leather and all that, and I'm like,
yeah.
But
he could definitely do it now.
Oh, I mean, he's always been jacked.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think he went up a notch for Reacher, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And I think he either they tightened his shirts or he went another notch up. Who knows?
Yeah, and in keeping with Fast and Furious tradition, how no one ever really dies, and I'm kind of happy. Giselle, Gal Gadot makes her comeback.
Yeah, Giselle
on
up again.
Submarine of all places, but of course. But again, whatever. If Han came back, so can she, right?
Yeah, but I'm wondering what that reunion's gonna be.
Yeah.
Passion, you didn't tell me you were alive.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I buried you.
Yeah, they have to explain this away somehow. Yes. Which I'll be watching with bated breath. Okay, see how they pull it off.
Kurt Russell and Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, I'm sure he had a hand in it, right? I mean,
well, I mean, she basically just jumped off. So I mean, other than a lot of road rash, maybe a few broken bones, she didn't crack her skull. She could have survived that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen them jump off of a lot faster shit and hit the ground and walk away from it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Han, really, there was no disputing that he was dead. But yeah, I mean,
well, even remember the when they were doing the tank chase.
Yeah.
Right, and then Dom gets is right in the side of his car and launches himself across to grab Letty and then go back first into a windshield. How much velocity do you think you were going to traverse a bridge and cave in the top of a car and just kind of like walk away from it,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, that requires a lot of therapy after that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, with these movies, so, it's gravity defying. It's people walk away without a scratch from.
She's Israeli trained Mossad, so like she jumped back, shooting. Who's to say she didn't flip herself over, land on her feet, and you know what I mean? But then again, why didn't she just run to them when it was all over, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm all for it. I mean, she's Wonder Woman now, right? So they want her back. I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not, at this point, there are 10 movies. You can't really complain anymore. We're along for the ride, and we're going to see it to the.
I mean, they took on a submarine in cars. They took on space in cars.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
yeah,
okay.
We're too far down the rabbit hole to start questioning everything. But and let's get to the money shot. So what do you know? Because Black Adam was a flop. Hell froze over. Maybe that's what they'll call the next movie. Hell freezes over because look who's back. His show Young Rock got canceled. So what do you know? But I get they're going to do some fancy editing. They probably won't have any scenes together. It's going to be like this,
Probably.
or cutting between each one's story, right? But well, whatever. Still, the fact that he said he'd never ever again, and he's in the end credit, like, oh, okay, I got you.
Do you think it might that the feud was just a red herring just to
Well, I thought at the time, like, to sell, and it works, but no, I
no.
genuinely think those, because I always wondered why Vin did that. Vin let him in because I've always known they've had massive egos. Just watch Punked, pull up Dwayne Johnson's Punk scene, and he didn't know cameras were on him. That boy had an ego then, and that was like 12 years ago. So
Right.
those two together, and it's Vin's franchise. No, that I totally believe. No, that was genuine, for sure. But
Well, now that they're they're looking at another Hobbs and Shaw kind of
yeah, well,
spin-off.
well, Dwayne, went over everyone's head in Black Adam, right? And they have a
Yeah.
long memory in Hollywood. So yeah, so he's, I mean, even better, right? I mean, he's just going to add to it, and
Oh, of course. I mean, his character was always a strong character in that franchise.
yeah, and
From
I
the
want to
beginning
see.
when he was chasing him to when he was all right, brother. You know what I mean?
I
So,
I want to see those two roided out HGH freaks, Alan Richardson and Rock, going at it, just
oh yeah, that could be
slugging
an
the hell out of each
interesting
other. Oh yeah, set it up, please.
that could be interesting. That could be very interesting. And then you throw a little Jason Statham in there.
Yeah,
I love the punching bag rolls over and it's a guy getting out. He's like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Just
no. But I mean,
warming up.
he disappeared for after they got him thing, he disappeared. So I mean, he's obviously going to look after his mom,
Yeah, exactly. Queenie, Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. But like I said, I still think Jason Momoa stole the show on this one.
Well,
Especially
well, yeah, but so much that's the rumor that Vin is mad at him now for stealing the movie. I don't know if you saw those headlines.
I saw the headlines that he
Okay.
was not happy with the way Momoa went.
That too.
But then afterwards, just saw the popularity of it and went, okay, well, I guess I have to allow this,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I mean,
Well, they said the same thing about Johnny Depp when he was shooting Curse of the Black Pearl. They were watching dailies and going, "What the fuck is he doing? Who is he? He's combining Keith Richards with Pepe Le Pew. He's killing this movie." And then, sure enough, he created one
it's
of the
the
most memorable characters of
yeah,
all time.
exactly. Well, and in all the featurettes, one of the things Vin says, and I watched this just recently, like, it's always great to have creative people come up and create these interesting characters, and I'm thinking, no, you don't like that. You want to do it the way you want to do it, but when people do it so well, you can't help but have it come in. Well, you got to accept it, right? And you're just like,
Yep.
you're just pissed you didn't come up with this sooner, you know. But like
Yeah.
even like the rest of the cast were just sitting there just talking about him, going, "Oh my god!" Charlize Theron was like just awestruck, especially in that first scene, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I got to start acting." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so everybody. I think Momoa out flamboyanted Tyrese Gibson,
Oh yeah, by far.
even in the gold Lamborghini.
Yeah.
But I like that Scott Eastwood's character started to be a little bit more, I guess you could say, on top of things.
Yeah. Little nobody.
Little Nobody was not as not as by the book
Yeah.
and
Coming out from Daddy's long shadow.
oh yeah, I still remember those where he started talking about Hobbs's daughter and Rock just picks him up and throws him up against the wall. My favorite line from that movie was when Kurt Russell turned to him and goes, "Okay, I gave you your shot. You shit the bed. Now I'm going to show you how it's done." Too much fun. Too much fun. Like I didn't know this was going to be a part 1, part 2.
Oh yeah, I did.
So when it ended, I'm sitting there like, what? What?
No. I think I even heard he wants to do 2 to end it. I'm like, oh, for God's sakes, Vin, just end it and do.
And the thing is, like, this isn't coming out until 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't have filmed this back to back yet.
Yeah.
Bunch of goofs.
They could have, but there's so much clashing on his set. Directors changing. Yeah, you could have. Like that's what James Cameron did with the last 2 Avatar. So we're not going to wait 10 years for the next Avatar. But I don't think with all these egos.
The second one. Yeah.
No problem. It's not bad. Like yes, it's way too long, but I could swear that this is the best motion capture I've ever seen. Those things at one point were just looking real to me, the Na'vi, and the ending is like 140-minute long, amazing action scene. So yeah, obviously yes, the time, but it's I liked it overall. But yeah, you got to get through it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go on to Extraction 2. Before you crap all over it, let me just say, okay, after watching John Wick 4. Okay, this was a very good action movie because John Wick 4. Me, it was action. I couldn't handle it. So this I thought was very well done. It wasn't balls to the wall out. They did pause every now and then. That whole prison courtyard scene looked like one shot to the train. It looked like Fortnite, for God's sakes, at one point with the same weapons. Anyway, let me just ask you: do you like the first one or this one better, or you didn't like both?
Well, I wasn't a fan of the first one. And while this one was a little bit better for me, it still felt very formulaic.
Okay, what did you like John Wick 4 better or this one?
I like John Wick 4 better.
Really?
Yeah, even though this was like John Wick 4 is still like a tired aspect of things, but it's still,
in terms of the action scenes,
it still had characters I liked.
No, what about straight action? Because by John Wick 4, you've seen, at one point it was getting ridiculous.
No, I thought
holding up the jacket.
Oh, yeah. Well, there was it.
In terms of action scenes.
In terms of action scenes, I thought that the people you had in John Wick 4 were better than the people we had in Extraction.
What about staging, like the choreography? Like, didn't you find that it was like
the pacing was
prison
better?
Fight scene?
The pacing was better. I liked a bit more of the story because one, it added a bit of a personal aspect to it because he's trying to save his sister-in-law and niece and nephew.
Yeah, we finally meet the ex-wife.
Yeah, so you got a lot more. You felt like there was a lot more to it than a bit of a redemption story kind of thing. And at the end, you kind of you came to know that his son thought of him as a hero.
Well, that was a little rough, that scene, right?
Yeah, that was very rough. But that added a lot more humanity to the piece. Whereas, okay, I was getting a little tired of the prison thing, and then into the train, and after that it was just like, oh, is this just going to keep up? Luckily they got some pauses in and they got some thing, and I think breaking that up a little bit more did help it a bit, but it still wasn't a great movie. It was okay.
Did you like seeing Thor and Heimdall reunited again? They even threw the Taskmaster in there. Olga Kurylenko playing his ex-wife as the Taskmaster.
Well, but yeah, at one point he was reaching for a hammer.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like, oh God, here we go.
Oh, when he took the dumbbell and just bashed that guy's face. See, that's what I liked about it. Shit like that you don't really see.
Yeah.
And it looked so believable that guy's face got bashed in, by a dumbbell because he was taking the woman away to get raped.
Although, I mean, 6 weeks to get back into shape.
I know
that kind of fighting shape.
Well, I know, but they're just borrowing from John Wick, who Keanu Reeves falls 6, 7 stories off a building, hits every
Yeah.
railing on the way down. It's just fine. So no, I'm gonna
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you'll forgive me there. They borrowed heavily from Wick, sure. I mean, this
But
was written by the Russos. It wasn't directed by them, but I thought the
yeah,
director, you know.
well, it was written by one of the Russos.
Well, no, both there was Joe Russo, Andy Parks, and Anthony Russo. No, both of them contributed, but yeah, it was Sam Hargrave that directed it. But it looks like they're setting it up to be a kind of boring thing because
Yeah,
now we're
I'm
gonna
just
have
kind of
a
like I'm sitting there going. I mean, as good as the Russos did with Endgame, they didn't write Endgame.
no.
You know what I mean? So I mean, I think they need to bring on some better writers for this. You know, they can direct it, and I mean, they directed the shit out of all that. But they need to get the Reese and Winnick and those guys kind of writing this shit, you know, because they do it so much better. I mean, it's a fair attempt, but there was a lot of, like I said, it's formulaic. You know, he's in, he's taking her through the yard. Is he gonna make it? Yeah, probably. Is he gonna beat the shit out of 40 guys? Pretty much.
Well, I was looking at more as from a technician's that like, yeah, sure it is, but I was looking about how seamless the action was. It wasn't really a wasted
Oh, it was
moment.
very well choreographed.
Yeah, I'm looking at all
I'm
that.
not gonna.
His arms on fire. He's still fighting. That was actually
He's
Chris
putting everybody
Hemsworth.
else on fire
Yeah,
by punching them.
yeah. It wasn't CGI. He really did. So I
No,
thought,
no. I think there was the choreography. I'm not going to say that wasn't thing, but what I found a little bit jarring, I guess you could say, was here's this highly trained guy, right? And then you'll go from super technical moves to all out brawl, back to technical moves, to like you know what I mean? Like it's up and down in the style of fighting, I guess you could say.
I had more issues with the story. Like at one point, there's just no cops anywhere, right? And how do you get all those guns in from Austria if you're these bad guys?
Yeah, well, that was a bit
finally
of
they show up. Yeah, they show up at the end. The police, thank you, but
well, I mean, yeah, they show up and like they've pretty much taken over the building and no one's called the cops yet.
yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
these guys are walking through crowds in masks with guns and rocket launchers and whatnot, and no one's thinking 911. Hello.
Yeah, or
I mean, they're
helicopter.
gonna get the fuck out of Dodge first because hey, I'm
Yeah.
not sticking around for this shit.
Yeah, this guy's minute gunning several floors from a helicopter.
You know, man, yeah, like really. And then like all the cops show up in these little Fiats.
Yeah, heavily outarmed.
Oh, big time, big time. You know, and then Hemsworth and his crew just kind of run right through everybody. And like, how many times is Hemsworth going to get stabbed before he stops?
Yeah.
You know, like that whole prison thing. He did get stabbed in the side with a piece of wood, right?
Yeah.
He pulled that out. He got stabbed with a knife. Got stabbed but then when you get to the when they get onto the plane and shit, like, yeah, he's okay.
Well, I forgave that part because of what he did. He pulled I think he pulled something out of the manual from Swayze from Roadhouse. Instead of ripping out his throat, do you see what he did to the two fingers? He ripped them completely from his other two, and you never see that in an action.
No,
he just yanked down.
That's
and
gotta
separated.
hurt.
Yeah, just separated. And even he was in shock. But
I mean,
that was awesome.
That was a little bit on the harsh side of live long and prosper.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Nice.
so I mean, shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, I did like it better than the first one. I think because they made it more of a personal story versus a attempt at redemption story. it played off much better. But you know, and did you predict that the nephew would throw him over?
Yeah, yeah. And I also knew that his handler Nick, the brother, was gonna die. I thought he was gonna die quicker, like when he started chasing after the
Yaz.
nephew. But yeah, Yaz. But yeah, I knew Yaz would die. I just thought he would die sooner.
Yeah, yeah. But that was another thing that threw me is like when he dies, and they're in the helicopter. She's like eyes closed, crying, ugly. She's flying the fucking helicopter.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
she's leaning forward.
That's true. That's one of the hardest things to fly in the world. Is hell. It's
yeah,
nothing like
you
a
gotta.
plane. You have two. Both your hands and your feet are working.
Yeah, and like she's leaning forward, and I'm like, open your eyes, bitch! Don't run into a
Yeah.
fucking building. You know, it's like, oh, come on.
But she did pull that sweet dive move though at the beginning, so he couldn't shoot her. She just
Yeah.
dove
No,
straight
no.
down
I
the
mean,
side of the
that
building.
was beautifully plausible and everything. But I mean, but then like you get to the final face-off. He throws like an army at them in the building, right? But then calls them up at the end like, "I'll be at this church."
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. He shows up with more Fortnite weapons like a grenade launcher, and
well, I mean, he
and
at that
prevent.
point he only had like what, half a dozen guys with him left, and then Hemsworth
Yeah.
blew them up like big time. He pulled an Arnold and went back into his from Commando and went into his back shed and pulled out an arsenal.
Yeah, and he does the Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'll never stop coming for you. Boom. Okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I'm not going to
Thank
pop.
you.
Fuck off.
Oh man.
But I mean, like, okay, he C4'd the kid. I'm like, yeah, that was a little predictable.
Yeah.
Your family, you're this, you're that, be your father's son, and next thing you know, it's like, yeah, do it or you're gonna blow up.
Pretty much.
But
All right. What?
that's like
Sorry.
it's
Oh,
a
go
paper
ahead.
villain, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Nothing we haven't seen before, villain
No,
wise, anyway.
exactly. See, that's why you got Fast X, and then you have this, and like you got Momoa's villain versus this guy's villain, and it's just like, no, Momoa was like combine.
Well, Momoa and Yaz had the same taste in shirts. That's all I can
Yeah,
say. Is that dog wearing a Valentino shirt?
I mean, Momoa was a cross between Jim Carrey's Riddler and Jared Leto's Joker, and you
Yeah.
throw little John Barrowman into it. You mix that up and boom. So yeah, when you got those two bad guys kind of competing for the for the top honors, sorry, Extraction loses.
Well, funny you mentioned Barrowman, because as I mentioned to you in person, Todd Stashwick is coming to Montreal Comic Con,
Saw
who
that. Yep.
played Captain Liam Shaw in Picard, last season of
Yeah.
Picard. And yeah, that'll be cool. And we got the date for Ahsoka, August 23rd on Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Well, we got a few Star Trekkers in, right? So Frakes is going to be there.
Yeah, Frakes is there.
John Delancey
Yep, yep. Q. Yep.
and Stashwick. Those three on a panel would be interesting to.
Well, yeah, because especially because Frakes directed them in some of
Yeah.
those episodes. So yeah, I could see that being a pretty funny panel.
Yeah.
And of course, Flash came out. I'm gonna check it today. So next time, if you see it, then we can
Yeah,
review that.
yeah.
Since it's such a lovely day in Montreal today. So of course, because F1, every time Formula One comes to Montreal, guess what? It's a rainy weekend.
Oh, I can also say that for my
on-
birthday too. Every time it's my birthday, it rains, which
That
is
tonight?
tomorrow.
Oh, well, happy belated. Okay, because this will come out after. Happy belated.
Yeah.
And that's it. Not much in the way of news, but that's all I got.
Yeah, no, no. Hopefully, yeah. I want to get out. I want to get out and see Flash. I want to get out and see Transformers. See how they butchered Beast Wars, because they always seem to want to do that.
Film partly in Montreal.
Oh, I know, I know. It's just again, it's just them taking a group of characters. Now, they may have pulled more from the comic books than the television series, from what I understand. But here's a set of characters that have a pretty strong canon and were followed pretty strongly when it first came out. Even though the CG was a little questionable back then or whatnot, the stories were very character driven, and they developed those characters pretty strongly. And to like throw it into the modern day stuff when it took place in such a different time, a little bit irksome, but we'll have to see how it goes. I've been told it's an okay movie, but it's not the greatest. So,
Okay.
and I mean, like I said, I think we talked about this before. Looking at the history of the characters, and having Pete Davidson voice Mirage when Mirage was like Cybertronian aristocracy. That ain't Pete Davidson. You know what I mean? You know, I would go with like a Ewan McGregor kind of character, someone with a little gravitas, a little bit of, you know. But oh well, what can you do, right?
Yes, sir. That's all I got for you.
All right, then we're gonna call that a day. This has been Butcher Bay Rejects. I'm Mark.
I'm Greg. See you next time, nerds.
You remembered it this time. Good.
Yes.
All right, gang. Have a good one. Bye. You can find us on all our social media. You can search Butcher Bay Rejects on YouTube, at Bay Rejects on Twitter, at Butcher Bay Rejects on Facebook, as well as at Butcher Bay Rejects on TikTok. You can also find us on our website, butcherbayrejects.com. And you can find us on all the podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Alexa TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Pandora. Thank you for listening, and tune in again.